here tonight. It's not just being here with your armies and everybody else who is visiting tonight, but I'd also like to tell you that I've got heroes in the audience tonight. I've got a number of them. Yeah, we met Craig McKinley earlier as the president of AFA. I know Craig McKinley is the chief of the National Guard Bureau, as an unbelievable Air Force officer and leader, and also as the first member of our National Guard to serve as a member of the Joint Chiefs of Staff in his role. He's an American icon in the United States Air Force. Craig, thanks for being here. There he is, retired commander of the United States Transportation Command, another great Air Force airlifter and joint logistician, one of my personal heroes and a great friend. They don't make him better than Duncan McNabb. Be like him, you guys will be immensely successful. And right here at the table next to Duncan is Major General Maggie Woodward, who is my hero in lots of ways. When Maggie came into our Air Force, most people didn't think women would ever get to do the job she's done. One of the ones that I think is most significant that a lot of people really have lost track about already, and we shouldn't, is that she is the first woman to lead an air war successfully. The fact that she was a woman at the time didn't mean a thing. The fact that she was damn good at leading the air war meant a lot. But as we look back on it down the road, it's going to be a significant thing, Maggie. So to you, to Duncan, thank you so much for both of you being here. It's great to see you. Speak, who is just a hero of so many people in this nation. Bonnie Carroll kind of transcends service. She said something that might have slipped by you when she made her comments. 50,000 families that the company she founded to honor her late husband have taken care of in the very worst times of their life. Bonnie, you are a remarkable human being, and we are all blessed to be around you. Thanks for everything you do. Me to be done in 200 words. Get a grip. I want to talk about two things. I want to talk about the Air Force, and I want to talk about how you're going to make it better. Because this Air Force, since the day it became the Air Force, and even before, when it became the Army Air Corps, has been a story about people. People just like you. Let me tell you about a few of them. And by the way, if you see somebody from the school you recognize, let me know you're in the house. Next slide, please. By the way, thanks guys for setting this up and running it from that guy. We appreciate you doing that. These are our first combat aviators in the United States of America. This is the Lafayette Escadrille, formed in 1916 in France. Some really famous names in this picture. Probably the two most famous are the two lion cubs over the Escadrille's mascots. That's Whiskey standing on his back legs, and that's Soda, the little one in the lap there to the left of Whiskey. The most famous guy in this picture is seated fourth from the right. That's Raoul Lufberry, at this time the leading American ace of World War I, with 17 kills. He went on to transition to the American Expeditionary Forces as America entered the war. He trained Eddie Rickenbacker. Eventually, Raoul Lufberry was killed when he jumped out of a burning airplane rather than be burnt alive, trying to jump into a farm pond, people thought. Unfortunately, hit the picket fence around the farmhouse. This is where combat aviation began for our Air Force. Also made it romantic to the American people as they celebrated these heroes as they came home. This is the beginning. Next slide. World War II had other kind of heroes, lots of them. One of them was your namesake. Pat Barnum was born in Pennsylvania in 1886. He graduated from West Point in 1907. He was taught to fly by the Wright brothers. He's not a bad pair of instructors. In 1912, he won the first ever McKay Trophy for most meritorious flight of the year. Pretty amazing track record for a very young officer. He became chief of the Army Air Corps in 1938. He's held that role all the way up until 1941 when the war began. And then once the war started, he was named the commanding general of the Army Air Corps. He led strategic bombing operations in the Pacific and European theaters. Eventually, at the end of the war, he was named the general of the Army, becoming one of only 5 people to wear 5 stars in the U.S. military. Pretty impressive group. Marshall, MacArthur, Eisenhower, Bradley, and Arnold. After the Independent Air Force stood up in 1947, in 1949 he was named General of the Air Force. becoming the one and only Air Force officer to wear 5 stars, and the only member of the United States military to wear that rank in 2 services. You're named after a legend. I mean a legend in our Air Force. Amazing guy, innovative, forward-thinking, forward-leaning, forward, always forward. That's what you need to do, because that's what our Air Force is all about. Next slide. Anybody know Ruth? If he was the father of our Air Force, Ruth Fleischer and the other members of the Women's Air Force service pilots from World War II, maybe they were the mothers. Ruth was born in Rochester, New York, grew up the daughter of an airport manager in Rochester. In 1940, she took ground school at that airport and immediately applied for and was accepted into this new Women's Air Force service pilots as the war started to spin up. She earned her silver wings in Sweetwater, Texas. Then she headed down to Governor Air Force Base in Alabama to do developmental test flying. She completed the Air Force's Applied Tactics School in the first class for women to go through. During the war, she flew 30 different types of airplanes. All kinds of test programs, delivered airplanes, the front end stuff to both Pacific and European theaters. Pretty amazing lady. After the war, in 1944, when the WASPs were closed down, Ruth kept right on flying. She became a commercial charter pilot, a flight instructor, a ground school instructor. Eventually, she married a guy named Bud Fleischer. Bud was an officer in the United States Air Force and a friend of my dad's. Go figure. Ruth also came into the Air Force as a member of the Air Force Reserve. She served as an air traffic controller, and she served as a flight facilities officer, running airfield operations around the Air Force. She also instructed at aero clubs all over the world, as she and Bud moved around. She retired in 1973 as a major in the Air Force Reserve. She still lives in Homestead, Florida. She's got 4 acres down there. She still maintains a Class 1 flight physical. She still flies. Her last solo was last November, shortly before her 92nd birthday. She's the lady on the right and the one on the left, the one on the far right in that picture. That was taken on the day she and her fellow WASPs received a Congressional Gold Medal. This is one special lady. She gave me my first airplane flight when I was 10 or 12 years old. We were visiting her family, she and her husband. She took me out flying, and I was pretty proud. Proud that I got to fly when my sister didn't. Proud that I got to sit in the front seat, and mostly proud that I was flying next to somebody I thought was a hero. Still do. You guys see Ruth, tell her I love her, even though I haven't seen her in years. I talk about her all the time. This is your Air Force. It's magic. Next slide. You know, she's getting close to the time now. She's probably wondering, so how's my life been? What did I leave behind? Let's run this video. You tell me.
When I was little, I wanted to grow up and help people. When I was young, I wanted to save lives. I wanted to make a difference in the world. When I was growing up, I wanted to serve my country. My name is Captain Sean Satan, Air Force physician. I'm Airman First Class Ashley Denton, Air Force firefighter. I am Lieutenant Colonel Dale Crawford, Air Force Jack. I'm Captain Cynthia Garris, and I'm an American Airman.
There you go. This is her legacy. I can't believe she could be any prouder than that. Next slide. Korea brought a new set of heroes. Some of the greatest fighter pilots in history born in the skies over the Yalu River, known as Big Alley. Across the bottom of that page, that's Robbie Reiser, Ralph Parr, Bruce Blase, and Bud Day. 28 made kills between them. And only 3 of them flew airplanes that got kills. Bud Day was an air ground pilot in those days. Bud Day, by the way, was also the most highly decorated American warrior since Douglas MacArthur. 70 overall decorations, over 50 for combat. Next slide, please. Just those 4 guys, just those 4, earned these medals, and many, many more. That's a Medal of Honor, 4 Air Force Crosses, 2 Distinguished Service Crosses, 6 Silver Stars. You got 20 Distinguished Flying Crosses, 8 Bronze Stars with Valor, 80 Air Medals, 9 Purple Hearts, and 2 Prisoner of War. All 4 of these